My name is Jack from Tool That Frog, and this is the fourth day of tutorials about text animation in After Effects. You will need a project that you can find in the Tool That Frog's blog. In this project, you can use a controller to make the animations that you want, and these animations will be sent to your text layer with the delay that you choose. In this tutorial, we'll use some animations principles to make our animation more interesting. I hope you like it. So let's go to the fourth animation. I will duplicate this composition. These are all the animations that we created in the other tutorials. And I will lock this viewer in this composition. If you downloaded the project, you just need to open the animator and delete all the keyframes and reset the parameters. In my case, I'm using the simple text that will make it a little easier. With one click, it will apply a controller to my text layer. The first step is create an animation in the white position. We want to give the idea that something physical is happening. And that's why I will start it backward and then I will adapt the speed curves of this animation. So this is when our letter arrives. And here is the last bounce. So the character must go up a little. Let's back something like 5 frames and let's go up a little again. Now let's come back to the 0 position again. Now let's come back to something like 10 frames and we must go very high. Try to not go outside of our composition. And now at the very beginning of this composition, our letter will appear from the bottom. This animation is too long. I will adapt it to something like this. I think it's okay. I will apply an easy and see the speed graph because it will help me to adjust the timing. The start must be very fast. The timing now is okay, but the speed curves are not right, and that's what we will change now. So when it arrives at the highest part of the movement, it must brake very strongly. This kind of deceleration is not physically correct, but I will give a cartoon style animation with this. It makes the movement more comic and more funny to watch. So it comes, it slows down, and it's fall down very fast. So here we must to adapt this curve like this. So in this way we can give to it more impact. So it goes up again and we will slow down it again like this, in this way. And then we can make another impact here and it goes up again and we will slow down again. And at the end, this impact and the animation will be something like this. I think it worked, but it seems too light and it's a timing problem. So what we must do is adapt its timing like this. I will change the position of these keyframes, make them a little closer like this, and I think it will solve our problem. This one we can put here. Okay, now it's a little heavier. Now we will create an animation in the opacity parameter. It must have just 3 frames, a fast fade at the start, and that's because I don't want to see all the text at the beginning of the animation like I'm seeing now. So this is our controller. And now this is the animation that we have in our text layer. It's very interesting, but I want to give to it more details in this animation. I want to make a rotation at the top, so 2 frames before the highest point, I will add minus 180, and 2 frames after the highest point, I will put 0 at the rotation, and I will apply easy to it. So it comes upside down, then it turns to the right direction. This is what we have in the text layer. And now the last parameter that we will animate in this text layer is the scale, and that's because we want to add a squash and stretch effect to this animation. I don't have a blueprint to it. I will play around with the parameter and try to get the result that I want. So depending on the velocity of my controller, it will deform its shapes. But I will follow one rule. The sum of the x and the y of the parameter must be always 200. So if I have 50 at the x, I will have 150 in the y. So it somehow will keep the volume of this form. So let's do exactly this. Let's start with 50 and 150. So it starts very stretched. And now it's time to squash. So we will put 150 in this side and 50 at the other. Now that is down, we will invert again. So 50, 150. At the top, we will invert again, but we will gradually decrease the values. 1200 in a side and 80 at the other. 90 in the side, 1100 at the other. 105 in the side, 95 at the other. At the end, we have 100 again. I will apply easy to all keyframes and see what is happening. It is very interesting, but there is a lot of subtle movements that you can adjust. And to do this, I will use the graphic editor to adjust some curves, so I will have more details on the movement. Here I need to do something to give more impact to my movement. So when it arrives to the ground, I will have to change dramatically this size. So I will put 1400 in this side and 16 in the other. In this way, we are simulating an impact. So every time it hits the ground, I will do the same. So in this case, I will put 105 and 95 in the other side. I'm not sure if it will work, but let's see what's happening. That's great. I will make its rotation a little slower, like this. I think it will be better. And now I will watch the result again. So this is our animation with our bouncing characters. Thank you again for watching this tutorial. In Two Dead Frogs blog, you can download a project with all the animations that we are creating in these tutorials, and you have an article with the written version of this tutorial as well. Bye bye!